Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke with Reverend Yutaka Yamada, today being Friday, the 9th of July, or the 30th of May in the 9th year of Chongyalguk. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Carry on. Kyombe. Haro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가족만세 4. 전국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 찬조 이사인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 4. Our family, the owner of Chongyalguk, pledges to build the universal family encompassing heaven and earth, which is the Heavenly Parent's ideal of creation, and perfect the world of freedom, peace, unity, and happiness by centering on true love. And I'd like to ask Reverend Ito if you could offer the opening prayer today. Thank you.
Okay. Let us pray. Loving Heavenly Parents and victorious parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, we're so grateful in this occasion. In these 2 days, the conference have successfully completed with many experts, as well as also many our guests together. We share how to make reunification of Korean Peninsula. Through this expert, many presentation, we can understand how this reunification is important, and with many ideas, the two approach to finalization of the unification of heavenly Korean Peninsula. We thank you so much in this occasion. The true parents' dream is to restore the Korean Peninsula first, before to restore all over the world, so that we really work together from this Oceania region. We also work together to support this heavenly disparate providence and complete true parents' dream, and as well as the heavenly parents' dream. Thank you so much. This morning, we share together with our leader, Reverend Yutaka Yamada, and with supervised by President Hori, with the regional heavenly Asian Pacific Region 2, together with all of our national leaders, the members, the staff, together sharing our heart and get benefit today was special for our own and our family and tribe and nation and the region and the world. Thank you so much for begin this new days, the Hundoke session. I pray Breast Center family can report to you. Amen.
Thank you. Let's offer a warm welcome to Reverend Yutaka as he shares with us this morning.
Good morning, our brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining today's morning Fundoke. Each single moment is a precious time, and I'm really grateful with you to offer our sincere heart and also a prayer devotion to our heavenly parents and true parents in the beginning of the day. So let's put our heart and also continue our new day and also new moment. So I will share today. So yesterday, we had a second day ILC, and successfully all program was completed. centering on the Korean Peninsula. There are many topics yesterday also. So the topic is about G7 after G7 meeting, or how G7 can contribute. G7 is a 7 main nation, some G7. And from America, Japan, their expert also attended and shared a comment or speech. And even former ambassador from America, also those message was shared. And even closing ceremony, our first president of Vanuatu, Honorable Excellency Sukuman, also gave the beautiful message. So yesterday, really, we had a good conclusion how to fulfill the unification of our Korean Peninsula. So each expert has a different opinion, but surely there is God's providence. There is a way. So with the wisdom, inspiration, we have to find the way and solution. So one American, the ambassador, the story was shared about the Christopher Hill. So China or Russia, actually they are not opposing unification between North and South Korea. Just they are worried if unified Korea already become one nation. So how about unified Korea? Those nations will try to oppose China or Russia or not. So those things is really their concern. That's why if all conflict or struggling matter with nation by nation, then they are not opposing. So with the wisdom, our cooperation and expert idea or realistic strategy, we have to find a way and prepare well. Then this North and South Korea unity will be realized. So yesterday ILC, we had also the great time. So finally, those matter is coming from conflict or really matter between nation and nation, and also the people and people. How we can solve those problem and matter is really finally the person can accept heavenly parents or true parents or not. This is really important things. So there are many providences going on surrounding on the Korean Peninsula. And now next year there is presidential election, and those presidential elections candidate is now coming one by one. So we should really pray, and we have to support for and think how we can fulfill heavenly unified Korea. So let's offer the prayer in Johnson also, and there is support this providence. So let's see this Mother's autobiography, Mother of Peace. So yesterday we are sharing about the part of a cross-cultural marriage blessing, especially in 1988 in the Seoul Olympic time. There was 6,500 couple blessing. So that moment, the enemy nation, that time the Korea and Japan, that both nation, originally enemy nation, and true parents organized and gave the blessing between Korean and Japanese. This was the cross-cultural marriage. And also many Japanese women went to Korea and lived together with a Korean man, and they face many challenging that time, but through living together, they could make an ideal family. So they are doing effort and showing the model. And even from Philippines and Thailand, so international marriage, they came to Korea and they are doing and surviving and showing the model well. So those things True Mother is sharing. So when we think about blessing, actually, all of us is kind of a existence or result of the blessing. So we are overcoming many kind of challenging, and also we could have many kind of good things. myself also, I receive blessing with a Philippine sister. So Japanese Philippine couple, there are many kind of realization, overcoming and growing and happiness. So maybe your family also same. So we are receiving blessing, but this is not for myself, not for as the individual. We are joining, we are receiving blessing as a representative of a nation and representative of the history. That's why many challenging and also many sometimes painful situation is coming, but this is because we are representative and meet them and solve them and also creating new history beyond the past. So we are standing is the central position and central figure, and we are the main person to create for the future generation. Then we can open the way for the nation, and we can open the way the world. So once maybe you start to share your story, maybe cannot share without tears. So many story you have. So really, this moment, it's also good time to remind, reflect, and also have a good time with your husband and wife and your children, and remind our blessing and those moments in the past. Now we have a really changing moment and really have a great time. So let's continue our mother's autobiography. Even if living conditions were difficult, they faithfully took care of their husband's parents when they were sick and elderly. Some even received government awards for serving their parents-in-law with filial devotion. Some became leaders of women's associations or parents' groups in their villages. Many of these wives and their husbands are now indispensable members of their village communities. So this story, mother is talking about the Japanese women who went to Korea to get the blessing and to live together with their parents. Of course, international wife also same, Philippine and Thailand, many wives went to Korea and lived together. And what kind of life do they have? Of course, living condition is not difficult, but they are try to overcome. You know, the Korea, especially Korea, is a family culture. So if not only international one, the Korean also same. If wife, daughter-in-law entered that family, then totally support and attend the parents and support and live for the family. For example, in autumn time, there is Chuseok, and also New Year time, there is New Year. Chuseok is some kind of the mid-autumn festival, or attend the ancestors, and also New Year. So that moment, all family and the relative come back to the family and gather together and also pray for ancestors and spend the time for the family. So that time, all ladies, women go to the kitchen and prepare the many kind of food and to serve the people. And some nation, some family, already naturally, they are staying and living together for 3 generations or 4 generations. So in that kind of family environment, the wives and also women's really support and help, and especially daughter-in-law, if we're there, totally support to the family, parents, even grandparents. That's why mother is mentioning those wives, international wives, totally support their parents, even sick, even they are elderly, and government recognize their effort. They are great filial daughters, and even they are recognized from the family and from the society and from the villages. So at the beginning of their life, in the beginning, they oppose them because they come from enemy nations from Japan. So parents, even the relative, native neighbors, they are really opposed, or they are not happy so much in the beginning, but through their lifestyle, they change their attitude and they change their feeling one by one. And how about now? Already now, they are respect these wives, and even they are proud of them, and even proud of them more than their own child. How much they are great, how much their investment or sacrifice is great. They also start to talk and proud to the people, friend, and also another person. That's why we could see those process or investment is actually the way to change the city, change the family, and also change starting point of the changing the nation. We are talking about a heavenly tribe Messiah, or restore the city, restore the nation. So those sacrifice or investment start from our living position, from our house, from our village, from our city, how we can contribute, sacrifice, and support. So Three Parents is showing these kind of model through cross-cultural marriage blessing. My husband and I realized there were ways to assist not only our church members, but all women in multicultural families in Korea, and we established a multicultural welfare center in 2010. The center helps people from foreign countries learn the Korean language and otherwise feel at home in Korean society. Furthermore, we are assisting disabled people and single-parent families. We set up the True Love Peace School in Korea for the children of bicultural families to help them with their studies and language skill. So inside of Korean society, even not our blessed families, there are some intercultural marriage couples. So when they stay in Korea, in the beginning, now getting better, but before, really it's not easy for the international couple to live in Korea. Not many support, not many environment, not many friends. But Three Parents organize and establish multicultural welfare center and support those family also. And together, the activity to support the society. So multicultural matter in each nation, really different situation, and Korea is now developing one by one. So how about Oceania nation, about the multicultural family? I think already Australia is a multicultural nation, right? Well, many people, even you are Australian, but I heard every time they are asking, where are you from? Even you are born in Australia, but people is asking, where are you from? Asking from the background, from ancestor. That much Australia is already living naturally, many nationality or many races together and making the nation of Australia. I think another country, New Zealand, I think similar. And I'm not sure the island nation, maybe some nation is different, more tribal culture and respecting the traditional tribe or cultural living system. So each nation is different, but through intercultural marriage, the culture and the atmosphere is changing. So Mada is sharing about the Korea. We sometimes hear about Korean celebrities or high-ranking officials whose sons evade the requirement to join the military. That is not the case with multicultural families. In fact, some predict that by 2025, some Korea will have a multicultural army. Children of international and children of international and multicultural families often have dual citizenship, and they can opt out of Korean military service by choosing their alternative nationalities. So in Korea, all Korean men have to go to the army. So this is not easy things. 2 years, 3 years, they have to go. Everyone, if they became more than 18 years old, all men have to go to army. So this is compulsory. So most important moment about university time, Korean brother have to go. That's why some family want to avoid to send son to the army. So mother is sharing about those story. So even international couple also same. Everyone have to go to the army. How about Oceania? There's those kind of system or regulation?
No, it's volunteer.
Not so much, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah. But some nation, Korea, I think Singapore and Thailand, some nations, all brother have to go, or some is really pick up some lottery, and if they are chosen, they have to go. So those country. So Korea case is also same. Even international marriage couple, every Korean citizen brother have to go to the army. Notably, more than 4,000 sons of couples who receive an international marriage blessing have fulfilled their national military service in Korea with honor. This is something they can be proud of. Melting Korean prejudice against multicultural families will take time. So we must work hard to see the day that the term multicultural family disappears. Discrimination is implicit in the term. A family is a family. Family is a family. No modifier is needed to describe it. So during that kind of environment, our breast children, they are really do their role and go to the military service and support. So even people want to avoid that things. So for example, in the multicultural international couple, they are dual citizen. If they try to avoid this military, because 2 or 3 years is very important time moment. So if they want to avoid, actually this is possible for them. Not choose the Korean citizen, they can choose another citizen, Japanese citizen or Philippine citizen or another citizen, but they choose Korean citizen and they go to the military service and serve for the nation of Korea. So they are really proud, to parents really proud of them. How we can reduce the prejudice of the international or multicultural family background. I heard many stories from my friend in Korea or from family, Korean Japanese family or international Korean Philippine family, even Philippine Japanese family. I heard many times. So they are really spend the difficult time in their childhood, elementary school or high school. You know, they are teaching history of Japanese invasion in Korea, right? And they are Japanese Korean couple, children, they are Japanese. Even they are Korean, but they are Japanese. So they are really facing challenging or difficulty. And even another nation, not only Japanese story, even another nationality, they stay together with the different history. Sometimes they face many challenging or painful situations. That's why the parents try to overcome or change those culture. Not only national culture, we should open beyond the nation and to embrace different cultures. So multicultural nation, those Korea is on the process. I think already Australia or New Zealand overcame those situations, right? Some cultural background or historical things, maybe a little bit there, still there is, but how we can overcome beyond the prejudice, preconcept to embrace as the one nationality, was as the same people, and also creating those society. Multicultural should not be used to label a marriage couple in which the men and women are of different nationalities. This is not in line with a universal understanding of humankind, nor with God's will. For more than 30 years, Father Moon and I have been promoting harmony between nationalities, race, and religions through the marriage blessing. Through Korean-Japanese marriage blessings, we have broken down the barriers between these two nations and their peoples. We have done the same between Germany and France and many other people of former enemy nations. So Mada is mentioning about multicultural. So this word, so Mada is mentioning this word should not be used in the family because even different nationality get married and live together. But who create this nationality? Who created this culture? Actually, doesn't matter what is your nationality, what is your religious background, what is your culture. Is that important as the family? In the family, this is not the main issue. Even you are any kind of nationality or cultural background, but important point is all of us, all of you is a son of God and son of daughters, and we are one family and stay together and living together and get married together. If we use multicultural, they are talking this couple is multicultural. Maybe in Korea, a little bit negative way, multicultural family, not pure Korean family. So if we are using this term, meaning is to making border. That's why through our blessing, we could break down the image and break down and also show the model more beyond the nation and beyond those background. That's why True Parents is organize this blessing ceremony beyond the enemy nation, not only Japan and Korea, Germany and France, maybe England and Austria, and Christian and Muslim, and those beyond those background and get the blessing. And now their children. How about their children's nationality? Even Japan is my nation. Even Korea is my nation. So no more enemy relationship. How about Germany and France, England and Austria? Even those are my nation. Our children can say. That's why if generation is going to the next and next, those barrier between nation and nation will be automatically disappear. So of course, our effort is important. Overcoming is important, but everything is as a representative and also for the future generation. That's why we could see the great hope and great overcoming together. The bride and groom who have received the marriage blessing are living based on the word of God and creating beautiful families all over the world. We do not call them multicultural families. They are simply blessed families. It seems ironic, but the ultimate goal of religion is to create a world where there is no religion. In the sense of religion being a repair shop, when all human beings become good people, there will naturally no longer be a need for repair our relationship with God. So those cultural marriage blessing, those couple, we are not calling the cultural blessing, cultural marriage, cultural couples, intercultural couples. We are calling the blessed family. So blessed family, centering on God's will and God's idea, God's guidance, we can go together and we can live together with God, with our heavenly parents. That's why centering on this vision, True Parents is leading the blessing ceremony. So learning God, this is the place where religion is providing and religion's role. So what Mada is talking about, what's the role of religion, is to make the world where there is no religion. So actually, the responsibility or role of religion is to educate people to connect God. So once they understand, unite with God, actually religious role will be ending, kind of the can graduate of religion. So through those points, true parents introduce our heavenly parents, and also a blessing activity, even our true family movement. So we could see our Muslim blessed family, Christian blessed family, Buddhist blessed family, Korean blessed family, Australia blessed family, Japanese blessed family. Even name is different, but everyone is the blessed family. In the same way, when we become one family under God, and world of true equality and peace appears, and term multicultural family will disappear. The very foundation of that peaceful world are true families and true love. As we have seen, the road to one world has many dimensions. It is a literal road, bounding nations together. It is an embrace of enemies who become brothers. It is turning a war zone into a peace garden, and it is the uniting of men and women of diverse races into literal knowledge that recreate the world as one family under one heavenly parent. As the mother of peace, I am calling the world's near 8 billion people to travel this road together with me. So this is the last part of this chapter. So True Mother is sharing the vision and also investment and also the activities centering on one family under God, different religion, different races, even through the marriage blessing. True parents investing in order to make one family under God. So how we can understand and testify our heavenly parents. So those story, anyway, you know well, because you are or we are the one who are main person to receive blessing and live together beyond nationality, beyond the races. So how we can share or develop this culture centering on our heavenly parents. This is our role and this is the way. So now Trumada is initiating centering on heavenly unified Korea and heavenly unified world. This actually simple things. People can accept heavenly parents or not. This simple target, but still many challenging is waiting, but surely there is a way. So we continuously totally unite with our true mother together with this vision and going forward. So this is mother's autobiography. So a little bit, I also share the Chon Sung-kyun word. This from Chon Sung-kyun. Anyway, the mother's autobiography and Chon Sung-kyun, of course, different target, but we will learn and share together. So Chon Sung-kyun, the most important part of a person is the face. The most important part of the face is the eyes. If we think about it, we can say that our eyes came from our parents. Then from where did our parents' eyes come? Tracing back through our ancestry, we come to our first forebears, Adam and Eve. When the very first eyes came to be, do you think they knew of the sun's existence? No matter how much we analyzed it, we can only conclude they did not. The eyelids could not have known that on Earth, moisture evaporates in the sun's radiant heat. The eyelashes did not know of airborne dust, even though our purpose for which they were created was to protect the eyes from it. We can understand that the eyes by themselves are a palace of infinite mystery, in that even before they were formed, the being who brought them into existence designed them with the sun, the airborne dust, and evaporation in mind. God is the name by which we know the subject partner who gave birth. So how we can recognize the existence of God. There is many kind of natural law. Maybe some of you heard about the law of entropy. So those things, complicated one, if put on the nature, the complicated one automatically become and changing to the simple one. So in order to change from the simple one to the complicated one, that things need some extra energy. That's why we could see if we put some book on the garden, 1 day, 10 day, 1 month to 1 year, automatically this become destroy and return back to the nature, right? So this complicated one become the simple one automatically. This is the law. So for example, we have many kind of parts of computer put into one box and wait few years. Do you think this all parts become the computer automatically? Just waiting 10 years, just waiting the 100 years, these parts of computer make a computer or became the computer automatically? That kind of percentage our human beings is living now. So human beings body, how many cell we have? 60 trillion, all different cell, different program and different connection. Do you think this 60 trillion cell just existing on the earth by oneself and naturally these cells can create human bodies? This is really, of course, people cannot say 100% impossible, but people can say maybe 0.0000 some percentage possible something. That meaning is almost impossible. That's why when we think about the human body itself, this eyelids, eyelash, or those things through parents explaining, really those things is some kind of accidentally existing or some existence made a plan, prepare or create human body or not. That's why the father is mentioning this existence is actually that the existence which we call God. Without God, scientifically also those things is impossible. So anyway, we could see how we can recognize, how we can realize the existence of God internally, externally. We are talking about Heavenly Parents. So how we are meeting internally or artistically, this is our key point. So today in this moment, we are sharing, but our Heavenly Parents is listening together and sharing our heart together. We have many kind of feeling, challenging, difficult situation, but our Heavenly Parents know all our situation, our heart, our feeling. So we are the one also who should share our heart, share, open, and tell to our Heavenly Parents, today my feeling is difficult. Today my feeling is happy. Thank you, our Heavenly Parents. Really appreciate you. Today I'm so sad. I want to share sad heart today. So those conversation and communication with our Heavenly Parents, then our communication connection become closer and closer, and we could live together with our Heavenly Parents. So today also new beginning day. So always pray together and find the message and receive the inspiration, and also let's create new day and new moment together with our Heavenly Parents and our true parents. So thank you very much today joining Fundoke. Let's have a great day. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Remy Yutaka, as always. You're really enlightening us. Yeah, I was 2 points stood out for me. First one was to do with multicultural, but growing up as a first generation of an immigrant family who came as refugees. Yeah, the term multicultural, it really is a term that discriminates. It's not a term that brings people together. It just puts them into groups. I remember when I went to America for the first time, And I was just struck how Americans say they're American first. They don't talk about, you know, they're a German American or a Spanish American or a Greek American. But here in Australia, when I was growing up, we had to start by saying that I'm a Greek Australian or Italian Australian. You know, it couldn't. I was thinking, well, we're all Australian. Why can't we just say we're Australian? Why do we have to say something different? And so, you know, mother's so true. You know, a family is a family. There's not a, yes, multicultural is a feature of it, but it's not the focus of it. The family is the main focus, and so that part just remind me of, you know, growing up, how being multicultural is actually a point of putting up barriers. And the other point that struck me was the last part when Reverend Yutaka was talking about the face, and then talked about the eye, and talked about, you know, the eyelashes and things like this. The thing I always, when I think about the eye, I always find tears to be most interesting. I mean, I think, you know, what's the purpose of tears? And every time when I think about, you know, the eye and you have tears, the only thing I can think of is it's an expression of heart. It's not some biological necessity in any way, like the eyelashes or the eyebrow to stop the water going into the eye or protect it from the sun and things like that. But tears, tears just indicate a person is sincere, indicate a person's heart. And I was always fascinated by tears, that could actually just come out. There's a tear duct in our eye, and it comes out because we get emotional, or we get sad, or we get, sometimes really happy. Tears of joy we had from Daniela the other day. So those sort of things. I mean, God is really amazing. The whole essence of our being is to express, heart and love. So those 2 points I was reflecting on today. So thank you. Open it up. Yes, go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, I was just thinking a lot about words, and I think with our intellect we kind of like to label things, but in our labeling it often does divide. So I remember when living in Japan, and when I had my kids, and it's like, you'd be going for a walk with them in the pram, and it's like, the little old grandmas would come along, oh, hafu. So any like international children or 2 nationalities were always considered half, and I used to hate that term because it made them feel less. It's like they're only half Japanese, they're not whole. So often a lot of other international wives, we would talk, and it's like, no, they're not half, they're double, they're more. But it's like this penchant that we have for labeling things, and I think, often for a lot of labeling, there isn't that negative, the motivation isn't to make something less, but it just so many ways that you can understand a term. And and it's like, and it seems like more and more these kind of terms we're trying to divide, but we really need to come together because we are just one family.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Go ahead, Santosh.
Good morning. I have a few experience traveling in Korea to meet the Nepali sisters blessed with the Korean husband as a part of my mission. Going to their house, talking to them, reviving them, talking to their children, teaching them Nepali language. And similarly, when I stayed in Korea or did fundraising in Korea, experienced meeting Japanese sisters selling fruits in the street and listening their stories. More than that, meeting a lot of Filipino sisters who were married, especially in the very in the village village where the husbands are farmer. Not only Filipino sister, even Japanese sister and Nepali sister, the husbands are farmer, and they live not in the city, not in Seoul. They live far. I there is a place called Goji Island. It's a very well, that's the sea area, you know. Usually all the husbands are fishermen there, but those sisters, they work hard. They serve their mother-in-law. And then they come to church every Sunday, and they do offering, and they are raising their children. So particularly there is a sister who been living in Chompeong in Sorak. Her name is Gina from Cebu. Sister Gina from Cebu. Her husband is a fisherman too. The husband goes out and comes once in a week and stay 1 or 2 days, and then again go. And she's raising her 3 kids. So, and she's supporting her mother-in-law. The mother-in-law also stays in their house. When we see the situation of the house, it's a very humble house, but they are the most happiest person in that Sorak area. And they never miss afternoon, the evening, the Ansu session in Chompeng. You know, the mother and the 2 daughters and the son, they go together with the old grandma. They go, and then that sister is the one who always participates the choir in the church, in the Sorak church. So, and recently I read the news that she was awarded as a model daughter-in-law from the Gyeonggi province. So when I see all this, when I witness all these things, then I felt that through parents' vision for the future Korea, no one had that vision, and no one has even now. So when we see the birth rate, in Korea, it's really going down. And it's only in the hand of unificanists. Only because of the unificanists, now the growth rate can be stable, or it can go a little bit up. Otherwise, no way. Because people outside are so external. That they don't want to get married. Even they get married, they don't want to give birth to the children. So the people are so external that they don't want to participate. They don't want to live as a 3 generation. And there's only way that multicultural family, the multicultural daughter-in-law who came from Japan, Philippines, Thailand. There are a lot of Thai sisters, and there are a lot of Mongolian sisters also, and Nepal. These sisters only they want to go back to their home. They want to stay there with the in-laws. They want to serve their in-laws. When we see the news, after every Chuseok, there are certain couples that divorce. When they come back from their hometown back to Seoul, on the way they divorce. You know, that is the real situation of the Korean family. But our blessed family, our blessed sisters are really working hard. When we see, and their children are doing very good. The multicultural sisters, our sisters, Japanese sisters and Filipino sisters, their children are doing very good in the university. They're doing very good in their faith. They are the one who really wants to go for the blessing without any hesitations, and they make beautiful family. There are a lot of 3rd generation, 2nd generation Filipino blessed with Hanguk Philippines couples generation. They get blessed, and they have the 3rd generation, and many of them are taking the leadership role also in our movement. So this is my experience. I have like first-hand experience meeting them, talking to them, sharing with them. I think that was a great vision that two parents had for chosen country of Korea, and that is the only hope. Even now, that is the only hope. Even now, that is the only hope for Korea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh. Yes. Now we have time for maybe one more person who's getting, who would like to. Yes, Daniela. Oh, we got Revenito as well.
So I just have a question when you talk about the last part that you show, the last paragraph. Is that do you use the English version and another version?
I'm using, you mean Cheonsongyeon or
No, the mother piece.
English version?
Ah, some
Is that
parts are like the last paragraph that you put is not on the English version, so you must have a newer one, is it?
Oh,
Sometimes it's a little bit different.
Yeah, even same English version, little bit different, right?
Yeah. The
I'm not
whole
sure
last.
my one is new one or old one. I have to check.
Oh yeah, the whole last paragraph is actually completely missing.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll check.
yeah. Interesting. When you say, as we have seen, the road to one word has many dimensions. It's a literal road bonding nations together. The whole last paragraph, but sometimes there's a bit different. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Revenito should be the last person to speak today.
Thank you. Anyway, about cross-cultural marriage, I just testify one, first Japanese-African couple, that after we dispatched to Africa, 1975, and this is the first fruits, 1982, there are 6,000 couple blessing. So we send about 8 members to Korea. So I couldn't go there, but after hear testimony, among 8, there are 3 with Japanese. And, one sister, Japanese sister testimony is very interesting because her husband is one of the youngest one, 24 years old at the time. And father brings this man, young African, to match with some European, the sister they rejected him. And father bring over many hours, many times bring it there and rejected, and the other place rejected. And the father said, is anybody want to marry with this African boy? And this Japanese sister he doesn't know anything about Africa, no interesting or no knowing anything about Africa, but only she felt father's wishes, why father so much wishing to this boy, to be matched with somebody. So she never think, about him, but with father's wishes. Okay, I must really, she waited, the father bring this boy to another place, and again come back with this boy, again not it much. So finally she really cry inside, wow, I must satisfy father. And she raised hand, and matched. This is the sister from Ibaraki prefecture, and amazingly, the children become a current national leader. And this is his second son is also finished UPA, and dispatched to the Cambodia. This Konki Nongerma, this is amazing, So this testimony is very moving testimony. Yeah, and this is the first African Japanese couple, and very great result. Maybe present will coming out from our breast children in Africa and some present. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Revenito. Thank you. Now it's time for us to join together in unison prayer. I'll just share the screen. Okay, let's begin. Adieu, everyone. Thank you, and have a great day.
Okay.
See you later. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Buongiorno. Thank you.
Buongiorno.
Bye.
Ciao. Have a good day.